The National Funeral Practitioners Association undertakers shouldn't overwhelm themselves with burial requests for the sake of making money. This has calls grow for businesses to refrain from taking advantage of those affected by the floods in KwaZulu-Natal. For more, we're joined by South African Funeral Practitioners Association KwaZulu-Natal Chairperson Nomfundo Mcoyi. Nomfundo, good evening. Thank you for speaking to us. Over 400 deaths in the space of a week, and this excludes those that have been dying from other causes. Is the association stretched at the moment?
At the moment, I wouldn't say we're so stretched because most of the bodies are still with the forensic department. There's a huge backlog with the forensic department because they're short-staffed. They don't have enough doctors. In Pinetown, in the one in Pinetown alone, they had only one doctor who could do 15 bodies yesterday. We were promised he was going to do about 30 today. They have a total number of about 215. So you can imagine a lot of people haven't been done. Postmortems are not done. And they've taken other bodies to other hospitals like Mariannhill and also Albert Luthuli, which are about another 100. So we should be bearing, we should be stretched, but because the bodies are not with us yet, we aren't that stretched at the moment. But we are waiting to see change by this week if more bodies are released from the forensic department, especially because cemeteries are opened as well.
Now, how many funerals would you normally process during the average week?
It depends, it varies per pala. Different palas bury different people, but the most would be, on a normal small pala, they would bury between 5 to 10, and bigger palas, they would go up to 100 a week.
Now, one of the things that we obviously must talk about is how you are handling many of those that have died in light of them coming in after being found after days following their deaths. I'd assume that many of these bodies would be in a state of decomposition. Has this affected your work in any way?
They're in a very bad state. I've seen some of the pictures from families that went to identify the bodies from one of the government mortuaries. They look really, really bad, and they're swollen. They're in a very, very bad state. Nobody must see those pictures, honestly. If they were to go to social media or go viral, God, they are very, very disturbing to see. It's very, very disturbing to see that people could be pegged in that way, especially when they're in that state. But when families come, they've told us that they had to identify the people, they had to go through all of that. It wasn't a good experience for them. We had to cancel them, calm them, and speak to them and tell them, no, as soon as the bodies are released, we are available to do burials for them, because some would be our clients, some won't be our clients, but they would be willing to be buried by certain palace. But we are addressing that, and we are taking good care of them. But I just want to warn the forensic department, really, they need to work very hard this week to release more bodies. When you look at the day of the floods and look at how many days later the bodies are still not buried, it's really, really unacceptable.
But is it not really about capacity and the constraints that they are facing? Surely the onus should be on the KwaZulu-Natal government to, I'd assume, ask the other provinces that are supporting them to send in more of these individuals to support the exercise.
But I think what government should look at, we have private hospitals in South Africa. They have to introduce private pathological services or private mortuaries, but we can assist as undertakers. They don't have to carry the whole load themselves. We can assist. So if there were private mortuaries, we could be attending.
Have you formally engaged the government of KwaZulu-Natal?
in that we are doing a proposal to propose such, because we believe that with private hospitals, we could have private mortuaries. But also they should be taking staff from other provinces or from other regions, even within the district. Not the whole of KZN is affected. It's eThekwini and some part of KZN. There are other mortuaries that are not stretched, where they could get more staff to assist in Pinetown, Phoenix, and in the eThekwini region.
Well, the only warning that, in fact, the warning to forensics is not the only warning you've issued. You've issued a warning to your members not to take advantage, certainly, of those families who've lost their loved ones during this difficult time. Just to reiterate for us what that message is.
No one is taking advantage of families. No one can take an advantage of families that have lost more than one member of the family. Some families have lost 3, 6, 7 members. You can't take advantage of those people. As undertakers, we just want to do the right thing. We just want to give closure, proper closure for those families. When they're good send-offs, when they send off their families, we can't take advantage of them. Even with pricing or anything, even with government, we've sat together as associations. We put together a package which we feel is a very good send-off for families that we are proposing to government to say, this is what we can offer for all those families. We're not even making profits or anything. All we're asking is for them to just meet us halfway with costs, so that we know that, we can give them decent send-offs. And we know that parlors, we suffered COVID-19. We suffered looting. And right now, we suffered during the floods as well. Our cars were damaged, our offices were damaged. A lot of our things were damaged as well. So we just want to reach out to families and be part of assisting families as well. It's the cost that we can't afford. We're not as big as other companies. Some of the parlors are small.
Now, do you have enough burial sites as things stand?
Yes, we do have enough burial sites. Besides Tafuleni, other cemeteries, they're all open. They're all ready to bury people. They are not closed. They were opened by eThekwini municipality, eThekwini Parks Department. They sent us a message that they are opened, so we can bury. The backlog is with the forensic at the moment. That's where all the bodies are held up. Otherwise, we're ready to bury. We have enough capacity. We have a lot of black undertakers in KZN that can just bury everyone that is a victim of the floods.
Now, we've been reading in the papers that an insurance firm has pledged 7 million rand towards the burying of, towards the funerals of the destitute. Are you aware of this, and will this business come your way? Obviously, as funeral parlors that are doing all you can to assist by charging only cost to those that have lost their loved ones during this difficult time.
We heard that one of the companies has pledged that 7 million rands. We feel that would jeopardize the smaller parlors that honestly cannot, we're willing to do the funeral at that small cost, where they could also recover. We need parlors to recover. A lot of parlors, they almost closed down during COVID and looting. And even with the floods made it worse. So they need a little bit of boost so that they can deliver the service. If that company comes and says they're going to do it for free, it jeopardizes them from getting that small cash flow coming into their business. We don't want to make a lot of profit, but we just want those parlors to be able to do the work. And more than anything, we really need to be fair to everybody. That company that's offering that 7 million, not the whole 7 million is going for burials of these victims. Some of it is going to SPCA for dogs, just to bury some of the dogs that were left stranded, or take care of the dogs. That's what they told us, because we engaged with them just to find out, okay, where do you come from with this 7 million? It is a good thing, but I think they should redirect the funds to other things. There's a lot that needs to be done. Houses need to be rebuilt. People don't have clothes. People don't have food. There's a lot that they can do. But in terms of burials, we feel they shouldn't put that money there, so that also the government has put forward 1 billion rands, and Motsepe Foundation has put more money, up front to take care of whatever needs. We feel that burial should be part of those costs, because we feel that people would be given food. That food won't be donated. Not all of that food will be donated. Roads have been damaged. All those roads, when they're being reconstructed, they'll be paid for. So we feel that as undertakers, let them give us a token of just a small token so that we can survive as undertakers as well. Because we were really affected by, this is the third attack on us.
So, Nomfundo, if you'll allow me to come in there, my understanding of this pledge or this money, the 7 million rand that's coming in, is that money is going towards paying for funerals of the destitute. And I'd like to imagine that some of those funeral parlours such as yours will be managing. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, have you engaged the respective firm, if you are aware of who it is, to establish how that money is going to be used and how the funeral parlours such as yours and other smaller ones can benefit from this donation?
We tried that because we felt that, okay, if they have that 7 million, let them pay the smaller parlours just to boost those parlours as well. And we were told that not all of the money was going to funerals. Some of it was going to something else, like, as I mentioned, the dogs, that will be taken care of as well. There's other things they'll be doing with the 7 million. Maybe about 3 million of it is going to funerals.
Well, a dog is man's best friend, and you will admit that.
I know, but they don't mention it. They're just saying funerals, as in it's only for burying the bodies that are at the forensic. That's what I'm trying to explain. Dogs, I love dogs. I've got dogs at home. But I was just saying, not all of it is burying those bodies at the forensic. Some of it is for SPCA as well. So it's been broken down into different needs. So I think it's about 3 million rands that should be for funerals, which we are still saying, pay the smaller parlours to do those funerals so that they can cover the cost. At least it will be a boost for them.
And you said you've made some engagement. Who have you made the engagement with?
We made engagements with the management, provincial management of the company. I will not mention the name of the company, but we have engaged with the company. As associations, we have associations, about 6 associations met last night where we were discussing this whole thing. How are we going to approach government? How are we going to help? Because we are willing to help as undertakers. We don't want to make profit. We want to be part of helping these communities, because it's the very same communities where we service them under normal circumstances. Absolutely. So we want to be part of change, part of help as well.
Nomfundo, finally, how can one claim without paperwork? Because it is pretty clear that with all the devastation that has occurred, many individuals have lost everything, actually, but will still need to bury their loved ones, even though they may have policies with your firm or any others.
I think that should be discussed with Department of Home Affairs. Fortunately, most things are digital. Thumbprints, you can put them on that machine. That machine can read your thumbprints, but it depends on the state of the body. That can be discussed with the Department of Home Affairs. We need to come up with a way of how those could be done.
Sorry, Nomfundo, I think you may have misunderstood me. Do you not run or support burial societies? Do burial societies not have arrangements with funeral parlours such as yours?
We do support those.
Correct. So in the instance where individuals do not have the requisite paperwork, because ordinarily where things are normal, you would come in with your papers and say, I have a policy, or we're part of this burial society and we would like to bury this individual. But those papers are nowhere to be seen.
Yes, what I was trying to say, you take the thumbprint of the deceased, the machine can read the thumbprint, just like when you enter at, those access control doors or everything, something like that. They can read thumbprints, the machine now, the technology, we have that. But in the case you can't do that, there are other ways of doing it. We've had people that have burned, that have been through accidents, and they were burned beyond recognition. They were able to be buried without the correct, without all the paperwork. There is something that Home Affairs does. They'll put together to make sure those people are buried, they get the necessary paperwork. Manual paperwork can be done.
Nomfundo Mcoyi, South African Funeral Practitioners Association, KwaZulu-Natal Chairperson, thank you for your time this evening.